Welcome to the bold analysis. For the last 5 months, citizen journalists have been telling the president that Adani deal was a poison chalice. And while it is of the interest of the country for the JKA to be facelifted, the government stood on a defensive edge for more than 4 months. And any other person who would raise a question against the integrity of Adani and that deal was actually brandished as an enemy of the government. Now, today the president has had a step down. And of course, we want to appreciate the fact that he has listened to the voice of many of us. I choose to celebrate Nelson Amenya. Nelson Amenya, you are seeing in the screen, was the whistleblower. And this man, at the time the Gen Z protest was going on, towards immediately the Gen Z protest went down, I joined the first space in Twitter. When he came up with this story, he actually raised the alarm on the Adani deal. The mainstream media abstained from that story. I think even political analysts, quite a number of them did not take it, and I'm not taking bragging rights, but I think in the political analysis, I was the first person to pick up that story from Nelson Amenya. And of course, Kina Jelani and all the others that have been in this case, the mainstream media picked this story in mid-August, a month after Nelson Amenya raised it. And that is why today I choose to celebrate citizen journalism. That the days of brandishing, just saying that that person is just a blogger, those days are over. Because this story came from Nelson Amenya. It didn't come from the mainstream. And they were very hesitant on picking it. Even though when I was talking to someone was saying that the story used to get to the newspaper, used to get to the newsroom, and then it would be killed in the middle of it before it is even produced. Do you know even Amenya's home was even raided by some estate agents just to try to suppress him, and remember him, he's not even in the country. So I have seen bloggers, the Kenya Kwanza bloggers, flattering the president as a listening president. Far from it. President Ruto and his team got into this deal blindly. And even an attempt to talk them out of it, they could not hear. So I want us to delve deep and look at what exactly happened. And we shall explain what this cancellation has exposed in how William Ruto is actually running the government. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. We are heading to 100,000 subscribers, guys. So far, we have 93,700. So we need 6,300 subscribers to click that. So make sure you subscribe. Subscription is free. It doesn't cost anything. And the advantage is you will be able to get to know when we publish any video. And thank you very much for your support. Let us first listen to this. I want you to listen to this 2-minute statement. What the president said before and after, immediately at the context of him cancelling the Adani deal.
I have stated in the past and now reiterate today that in the face of undisputed evidence or credible information on corruption, I will not hesitate to take decisive action. Accordingly, I now direct, in furtherance of the principles enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, and based on new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for the JKIA expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as Let me repeat this for clarity. I have said that provided, because of the information that has been provided to us by partner nations, I have directed agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for JKI expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as the recently concluded Ketrago transmission in public partnership. And immediately commence the process of onboarding alternative partners, because these are important projects. Honorable members.
Those MPs giving the president standing ovation, even just 2 weeks ago, those MPs could chew you alive if you dare oppose that deal. And that has exposed how, how the parliament we have is just a bunch of loyalists, just a bunch of people when you are controlled with. Look, even those who opposed the deal are now clapping. Those who supported the deal are now clapping. And it has exposed how then they just follow what the big man have said without even question. There is no MP who could even call Amenya and sit down and ask Amenya, what are these details? What is in it? And I think even the likes of Raila Odinga must really learn their lessons here. They're the ones that were dragged, and they gave this country a very big history about how they knew Adani. But then, there is very interesting context that I've seen here. Just sometime in July, there was a story by Global Intelligence that came up. Let's look at this tweet. GIS region, 7 ultimate retrieved US 312,500 euro, 312,500,000 euros from Adani Group to 14 senior government officials, frozen escrow accounts involved in Adani JKI takeover with caveats placed on various properties acquired through power deals, UK, and all that. So there have been all manner of statements. That one came from that institution. So these things have been going on. Now, if you listen to that clip, the president seemed to be saying he's only basing his decision to cancel the deal based on what the US have said. Remember, I analyzed it in the morning. Adani was indicted in some bribery claim, and was so quick to issue a statement. Immediately that story was released on Wednesday from the US, Bloomberg, I think I analyzed it here. They were so quick to issue a statement. So that is the ground. But this still had so many other glaring issues, and you will see that what the president is picking, yes, as the position is good, but there is more than what catches the eye. Now, there is something I've learned. And yesterday, I did that video on Wednesday, 4 a.m. in the morning. When I was analyzing that video, and I did say that we are going to wait for how Kenya Kwanza is going to react. And my projection happened. When Waziri Wandai on energy, in charge of energy, appeared in Parliament. He was summoned in Parliament. And in his statement, he actually said that according to their investigation, their deals with Adani would continue. I would want you not to miss that soundbite because it's very important for this analysis.
We had no knowledge of any other adverse matters that could have come to light maybe now or some months or weeks earlier. And therefore, we are proceeding on the basis of the outcome of the very rigorous due diligence exercise that was undertaken by the contracting authority in line with the law. On the matter of Adani indictment, Honorable Chair, under Section 41 of the PPP Act, we have got to very elaborate mechanism for undertaking due diligence. And I want to go to the point straight away. And pursuant to this section, Honorable Chair, the PPP Directorate, which is domiciled at the National Treasury, in coordination with the KETRACO, conducted due diligence exercise on the proponent, that is Adani Energy Solutions, in two phases. Phase one, of course, involved documentary review. That's what we call desktop review of all soft copies of the documents that a proponent provided to demonstrate their technical, legal, financial, and logistical capacity to undertake similar projects.
Now, this begs the question. Just within 5 hours in a day, government has issued two contradicting statements. Waziri was in Parliament saying we are continuing the deal. The president, while in State House preparing for State of the Nation address, knows very well that they are going to cancel the deal. What I think ought to have happened is they would have not even commented. They would have said the president will comment about it. And to some end, the ministry did not even know that that deal has been cancelled. Dede, unaona hiyo clip ya Wandai ni ya leo asubuhi. He was in Parliament. Then within just 5 hours later, the president, the same Parliament, cancelling the same deal. Now, look at how contradiction is there. It only means that there are two centers of power here. What the ministry thinks they're doing is different from what the president is doing. Now, that is important because that point will help. It's part of what I'm going to explain to you when I say how these foreign deals have been exposed. Now, Mbadi, another one is Mbadi. Mbadi, after government gave these Adani guys a clean bill of health, Mbadi is now saying that they were doing due diligence.
Issue of Adani bill, and I spoke about it at the Senate and then the National Assembly. We were way too far. The Adani procurement process had just begun. We were still doing due diligence. Then from there, we were to graduate now to negotiation. We had not even reached the negotiation stage. And if you look at the PPP Act, especially this specific procurement method called PIP, privately initiated proposal, until you sign the contract, you can stop the process at whatever stage. Even if you get another better deal, you can drop this one.
That is for JKA. How about the one that was signed, that is the Adani Energy?
Even that one which is signed can be negotiated and can still be cancelled. Because the moment you give the contract, you know this one.
At what cost, Bwana Waziri?
Let me tell you, just listen to me. This is not a competitive procurement process. PIP, go and read the act and understand that PIP is a model of procurement which does not tie your hands until you conclude the process.
Are you assuring Kenyans that no money will be used just to compensate the Adani?
I don't see any possibility of losing any money. Compensating them for what? For doing what? Because the only thing is the amount they paid, which would be refunded. Yeah? Because it is not a mutual termination. There is no, in PIP, there is no much expenses that are involved. So what would you compensate them for? So I don't see any problem. PIP is the most flexible method of procurement.
That is bad. He's now saying they were doing due diligence. Lakini, initially, hey, I'm telling you, no, who doesn't know that Kenya Kwanza team really supported this team? This shows how president is making decision. And let's think about this question from Crystal Asige. Crystal Asige have some very interesting question here. And that question borders what the president said there. Good. JKA and Kentraco deals are cancelled, and I hope it's not the way the finance bill was withdrawn and now back with a different face. But what about Adani's involvement in Kenya's universal health coverage through their subsidiary company Appiero Limited? Appiero holds the majority stake of 59.55% in consortium tasked with developing a high-tech based universal health coverage system alongside Safaricom and Convergence Network Solutions. Many concerns were raised about how the contract was awarded, as it bypassed competitive bidding. Additionally, questions surrounding the ownership of Appiero's parent company, Sirius International Holding, highlight further transparency issues. Why did the president cancel these two, or are you leaving healthcare to Adani and Co? I wish we wipe out Adani completely. If the ground that we have used is what the president is saying because of intelligence from partners, which is that from US, then clearly we need to remove Adani from SHA and SHIF, because those fellows are corrupt. Those fellows are just a bunch of fraud. The U-turn to cancel deal has been celebrated, while people say the president has stepped down, and of course we appreciate the fact that he's been defending this and have decided to step down. I wish he takes that position that when something is not working, he steps down. But again, it exposes the dark side of these foreign dealings. There's several foreign dealings. There is that land takeover, hata hapa kwa health kuna ingine, uko kwa mining kuna ingine, and there are others. PPP has been praised as a game changer. But Adani has exposed to us what Ruto is made of. Number one, single sourcing. When people are taking bids, is a strategy that is used to avoid due diligence. And let me just explain single sourcing in simple language. Single sourcing ni, you want to be supplied, you want a service. For example, you want to buy this laptop, and that tender, you directly go and choose one company that it is company X to supply me that tender, instead of advertising, then receiving bids from different suppliers or different companies. Then from there you do competitive bidding. On Adani, it was single sourcing. The same thing is happening in SHA. That 104 billion digital system that is supposed to be used by SHA was also single sourcing. And now we must learn that this decision of I've found a friend from India who is a billionaire with all the money and he can do this, and I think my friend should do it, then you give him that tender, it's a problem. It's a big problem. I wish the legislators, after giving the president standing ovation, they should rush back to Parliament and work on the legislative framework on PPP and retweak it so that you close that loophole that is available for single sourcing, because it has brought us here. Remember, we've wasted taxpayers' money. Kenyan delegation traveling around to negotiate in Dubai and where? That's one thing we have seen. The second issue is this. And the president is the master negotiator and the chief procuring officer in these foreign deals. It is not the ministry officials. It's not those procurement officials who are being directed to cancel. If Waziri didn't know that we are cancelling and the president knew in State House, what does that tell you? He is the chief negotiator. He is the chief procurement officer on these foreign dealings. And because of that, we are not doing due diligence, because when it is the president negotiating, the president is negotiating based on the relationship. In fact, there are stories of how our flights even to US during that trip were funded by Ruto's friends. And this could be part of his friends. So Ruto's bargain on PPT, that weak bargain, is because of friendship. And lastly, I think before we get into these foreign deals, we must look at geopolitical interests. They also play a key role. US gave that intelligence. But we also need to say that US, there was direct sourcing. Adani was given that deal directly, and it was done in a haste. But US also had a potential investor that was also interested in the same. But that investor, they were not subjected to competitive bidding. And that is why the president is saying in Parliament that nevertheless, the deal will continue, but with now pursuing alternative other players. I wish the country will maintain their stand that we can get into any deal. By the way, we did not have a problem, we did not have a single problem that Adani is corrupt. The country also had a problem by auctioning and strategic national infrastructure like the JKIA for 30 years. So you've defeated it on Adani, but the vigilance still needs to be there, because we are dealing with business dealers. Thank you.